and you're walking by me in one of the studios, and you go, "Hey, good luck tomorrow. You know, marriage is the first step towards divorce." And I was like, I don't want to hear that. And I tell people that story. I'm like, oh no, I worked for Edward Villella, and when I was getting married, this is what he said to me. And if it's women, they're like, boo. And if they're guys, they're like,
Well, 30 years later.
you probably don't remember that. We probably just came out of you like that.
Yeah, that's who I used.
That was classic, man. So classic. Classic Edward Villella, man.
Oh, well, so long as we were having fun.
Yeah.
And then we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me a great Kent Stoll story
Oh,
where you were like on the tarmac of like getting a small plane or something, and he had done something to you. He yelled at you about Francia or something. Like I forget what had happened, but you were partnering her maybe, and he said something to you that was confrontational, and you said to him, you go, yeah? Well, guess what? Next time I'm gonna drop her and I'm gonna kick you in the ass. How you like that? and he went like running away. Like, see ya. Oh man, that's another. When we were dancing in Seattle on tour, I remember he was showing you around their new facility, and obviously you guys, made up and all that stuff by then, and they had a nice facility. It was pretty sweet, and we all got to take class in that building. So we did a men's class and we did a women's class, and these guys, we were like on the shorter side, Miami City Ballet. Like maybe I was one of the taller guys. These guys were all giants. They were like 6'1", 6'2". So it was totally different.
Some of the women.
Really good partners, but when it came to jumping and turning and all that stuff, not so strong. So we had a dance off.
Oh, they were very good at the bar.
Or they were like beautiful bars, but then when it came to moving, not so much, right? And I remember being in class. You got all PNB, Pacific Northwest. You got all Miami City Ballet, and it became a dance off. It was like, yeah, all right, let's go. And it became this competition. And we had Franklin, and we had Giannis, and we had me, all the guys, and we all brought out the best, and we killed them. We just killed them with pure technique. Like, everything we could do would just come out. And everybody was on. And these guys were falling down, and they couldn't do good battus, and we were, because of you, we could beat, and we could, everything. And I just remember it was amazing. Because when does that happen? That never happens. You get two companies in the same studio taking class together, and every day we would just slay them, and it was just, and I hate to make it sound like, but that's what it became, because we got all these attitudes. Like you walk in and be like, that's my spot at the bar. Like, oh, okay, well I'll go over here, But it's like, and right away there was this attitude, and then we were all looking at each other like, okay, all right, we know where this is going. And we destroyed him. It was like, that's what I mean. It was like being on a team because of Edward, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, our team was a little different for the girls.
Yeah, the girls didn't so do.
You have the Patricia Parkers, very like tall, long hair to the behind, and walking in like ghosts. Turned out with the point shoes half on and half off, and we're like just getting there to the bar. All right, let's go, let's take bar. But all the other girls felt it, so we're taking class. And we go to the center, and that's where we thrive. And all the Miami City Ballet, the principals, everyone, they're hiding back. Melbourne and I are like, get down here. Let's go to the front line and let's dance. So finally, we got the girls to the front, and we got them moving, and then we had a good time. But it was a little different for the girls. They were holding back. I think they were a little shocked by all the tall, Amazons. Very tall. We were like a smaller company.
But you took us everywhere. We even got to go to Colorado a couple of times to the Aspen Festival. Do you remember that? And he would take us there one day early so that we can acclimate to the high levels. And you're always like, don't go out, use this time to really acclimate, get used to the change so that when we perform, we'll be good. Behave
Behave.
Well, that next day, some of us had horseback riding.
Well, I remember seeing a whole bunch of
Oh
you
my God.
riding horses.
I remember
Yeah,
the
they-
girls and I, we went out and we met some people. And I remember getting on the motorcycle behind this guy, and you just came out of your room. You know, they were like townhomes. And you looked at me and I just went, we took off. But luckily, you're okay? You're okay with it. Because we dance our butts off.
Yeah, I remember seeing a whole bunch of you.
Yes, and then
Taking
you
off
were
on
there too.
the-
I remember that you were there too.
Horses, and I was looking at you guys.
Oh my
going,
God.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and do you
God.
remember Erica Lamb was allergic to horses? And she came out the next day, her face was swollen. She had rashes everywhere.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, we had to take excessive amounts of Advil because after riding on the horse,
There's
the
a
inner
mountain.
thighs and the legs were just, they were slammed. And so, I would say, Grandpa Mo, and I'm like, I can only take a shave right now. I can only go up to here. I can't go up right now. Give me a little time. Give me a little time to get off the horse.
Let me put it this way. What did you expect me to expect? I could see it coming.
You knew better.
You knew it was coming.
And I would say to myself, how am I going to stop this? Are you kidding?
And you warned us time and time again. And the next day we were just in so much pain. You remember? But it was just wonderful.
What happened?
And
When we went to Colorado.
Colorado. And then you guys went climbing up a mountain.
Yeah.
That was in Ecuador, wasn't it?
Well, no, Ecuador's where I fell out of the tree. But
With Yanni. He was with
I
Yanni.
was with Giannis.
Yeah, tell it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No.
I remember the time we were in Madison at Festival of the Lakes. We were doing his ballet.
Festival.
Festival.
Oh,
I had a solo in that. It was awesome. And I wasn't dating Villella yet, but I figured out which hotel room they were, and I climbed up on the outside of the building, 8 stories. And then I got on the terrace and knocked on the door, and I hear ah, and I'm like, oh, they'll figure it out. So I knocked on the door again. It was the wrong room. So the woman had gone into the bathroom and locked herself in, and it was one of those hotels that has a phone in the bathroom, and called downstairs. So finally the door opens and it's security, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, it's my mistake. I thought it was one of my colleagues who I dance with. And so they brought me downstairs to the desk, and Jimmy had to come bail me out. They called, I guess he was around, you were probably at the theater.
It was like
And-
the 8th or the 11th floor.
8th or 11th, yeah.
Then when they let him go, he did it again. And then he got the room right. I don't know. And here we are. No.
yeah.
Did Edward tell you the story about when he was attacked by those guys?
What?
You were attacked by a bunch of guys, a bunch of military.
Oh.
You ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, before you danced, when you were still in the Navy or the Army or whatever you were in, whatever.
It was a bunch of military
Yeah,
guys that
when you
attacked
were
him.
at the bar and they pulled you out and they attacked you and you ended up.
Yeah, one guy went to poke you in the eyes or something.
Yeah.
You had
A long time
bruises
ago.
on your eyes. I
This
just
was
remember
before
the
you
story.
danced. This was
Was
when
it before you
were in
danced?
college. Well, he was in college.
Okay.
He was in college when that happened.
Yeah, I think you defended a woman or something. I can't remember it specifically, but
It was 6 paratroopers. Right?
yeah, paratroopers. That's
Whoa,
what it was.
My.
Goodness.
Yeah, they ganged up on him. It sounded terrible.
Yeah, they put his hands behind his back and one hemorrhaged his eyes.
Oh, Jesus.
And he was in a coma and he didn't recognize his parents. He was in a coma. How long were you in a coma for? I know you're eating.
No, that was terrible. When he told us that story, I think that we were in the dressing room and we were all floored. Like, I was like, what?
Were you around whenever he used to give his dance talks?
Absolutely. I used to do
Oh,
that.
yes.
He used to bring me, and sometimes he would take a few dancers with him, and we would dance to demonstrate some
no,
of.
before performances though.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
'Cause I
yeah.
remember he used to really get out there and talk about what was going on at the board and what was going on with everything that was going on.
Yeah. We did a lot at the Colony. Remember
Yeah.
the little colony on?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
but-
Oh, that goes way back.
I loved when Edward would go out and talk before a show.
Yeah.
And the
Because
people
I always
loved it.
learned something.
Yeah.
He would talk about provincial versus what we were trying to do, and different styles of ballet and neoclassicism,
And I think people
It's
had
awesome.
a different concept of ballet. And I think that you were able to bring them back down to earth and really understand the beauty, the difficulty, the challenges, and it just you were able to master that.
Well,
And
he was,
people,
yeah, he
people
was
were
just
really
so
intrigued.
articulate too, so I could just listen to him talk all the time. It was amazing.
I mean, when you think about the time that the company started, and then, you know, the velocity with which it grew,
Yeah, he made
you
it.
know, like, I don't think that's really happened with any other company. That it starts at a specific year, and
Yeah.
basically by year 10, you are known nationally
Oh,
as
like top-
one of the best.
Top
companies.
five, top five, easy,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
So he took it from 19 dancers in '86. By the time, sometime in the '90s, you're like, this is world class. You know, I don't know who does that.
And the thing about Edward is that when he supported you, like you were together with it in it, you know. So like, you know, whenever he like pushed you,
Yeah.
he was there, always.
It's okay.
I don't know. It's just I look back.
These guys
It was
were.
just
He
so
made.
much-
I mean,
It was so much fun. I loved it, and like the whole journey. It was just a journey.
Well,
You go through ups and downs, you
And
know.
the thing is, you believed in us, and you gave us a chance. And you know, you didn't. You were patient because we know that this is a journey, and it doesn't happen overnight. You know, some things we would be able to catch, but you gave us a chance. And because we had so many opportunities, we continued to grow, and we became things that we didn't even know we could become. Like I'll never forget. You also bring in people to help us understand. Like you opened that space, and you allowed people who did those parts to help us understand. You brought in Villella, you brought in Patty McBride, Susan Farrell, all these wonderful dancers to help us understand what was taught to them. And so we were just growing and growing and growing. And it just came to a point that we became better than we ever thought we could. And I'll never forget, you gave me that opportunity with Ruby's. And one day I think we were in Kennedy, and you came to our big dressing room. Everybody was ecstatic. We just finished dancing, and you just knocked on the door, and you came and you thanked me. And that was one of the greatest moments I have ever had with Miami City Ballet, because you gave me that chance. So it was awesome. Thank you.
these guys went on.
But you know, we can also talk about times.
We're in big trouble here.
Yeah, well, we don't know your reaction. So we have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
So, like, we get emotional because I haven't seen you in a long time. I mean, it's been like 20 years, Edward. You know, and
Has it
and
really?
it's bringing back so many
It's
emotions.
been more than 20 when you think about it.
Well, I try not to count so much. At a certain age,
These
you
guys
stop
have the same
counting.
birthday, so they talk every October 1st.
Every October we talk,
Oh, okay.
but we haven't seen
It's like
each
an
other.
annual tradition.
So, you know, it feels
We
like
haven't seen each other.
It feels like we're back at, you know, the dancer lounge, hanging out between rehearsals, and just talking and catching up. But yeah, I will never forget that one Christmas. And Linda had a significant part in this
Oh my God! Don't
because
you-
she saved us from losing our jobs.
Yeah, you got very. That's why
do
when
you know
you
what
said.
you're talking about?
It was the final Nutcracker. We had done like
This is true, but this is a
29
true story. She did save their career. I
Yeah,
mean, there was,
29 or
I think he was
30.
gonna can them.
Yeah, 29 or
But-
30.
Like
but-
Linda said,
Tell-
that he was trying to scare us because of what we did.
Tell them
Well-
in such a way that somebody that is not a dancer, like if you.
Wait.
Okay.
Okay, every last Nutcracker, after doing more than 25, it was known that
With the New York City
the New
Ballet.
York City Ballet that you can do. They did little mischievous things just because it was the last What?
Usually it was a New Year's Eve show that they would do. at
Yeah,
the
that's
same
what they
time.
called it, the New Year's Eve.
They'd call it the New Year's Eve show. Right?
And you know, the snowflakes would wear bells on their point shoes, or you would see a mouse on roller skates going across the stage.
So just little things,
Or,
not,
you
not
know,
to ruin it, but things that weren't traditionally
A
gonna happen.
mustache when there wasn't supposed to be a mustache, they would do little jokes. And we started doing that with Miami City Ballet. And then one year, Mel and I came up with this idea.
Great plan. She was doing the lead in Marzipan, and I was doing the dewdrop. And we had a fantastic plan. Half hour, right before half hour call,
And
we get this announcement on the PA system.
This is Dade County, right?
Yeah, in Dade County Auditorium.
Yeah, Edward's speaking like God. Do
Like
not.
God.
This is
Do
Edward
not.
on the mic.
I want you to.
On the PA system.
I don't want to see any
Like-
mischievous acts. I want you to respect the choreography, which we always did. But I don't want to see any of this, any of that. Let's keep it pure. Let's keep it simple.
It has
I don't
come to
wanna
my
see
attention
anything.
that some of you might have tried to put your own spin on this tonight,
Yeah.
but that will not be happening.
Yeah.
So,
Do not.
so our plan.
And meanwhile, we had lunch with the other, like with Giannis, Mylena.
Eliana.
Oh, between
yeah,
it was a
Franklin.
matinee evening, yeah, between
And they're
shows.
like, Giannis was like, don't do it.
Don't
Don't.
Yeah,
And
Giannis was like,
Marilena-
don't do it.
Marilena was like,
Don't do
girl,
it.
I
Don't do it.
wouldn't do it.
But then, you know, Marvel and I, we just chatted. We're like, nobody will ever
It
know.
was between us. And she was born first.
Yeah, and you know,
But this is cool. Check this out.
the dewdrop has 5 entrances.
And
So then she
various
comes
costumes.
in, dances, goes off,
Wait,
comes
wait,
in.
wait. Dewdrop has various costumes.
For the different
The only
castings.
problem, there was only one tiara. So I said,
Yeah.
forget the tiara. Okay? So,
We'll bring in our own, you know,
So
brilliance.
costumes are
right.
same, but they don't have the headpiece.
so,
And the costume was rather like, you know, beige. You know, it needed
Right.
the headpiece to sparkle.
Yeah, totally.
But we sparkled with the dancing, with
Yeah.
the attack, the
So
musical attack that Edward showed us today.
so but these 5 entrances are all powerful. I come out in the first one, and I feel this adrenaline going on, and I'm just feeling so on top of it.
And I am.
Second entrance.
All the dancers in the company are in the wings. Edward's out in the house. And they're all in the wings because they know what's going on. They're like, oh, there's 2 dewdrops. So
And I'm hiding back here behind one of the backstage doors, like, no one can see me.
and then second entrance.
Yeah, so
second-
Mabel does the first entrance, and the flowers are
This is
saying
all
to her,
the one person that's supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, doing
Only
the lead.
one girl does this.
One girl does this.
And Mabel's there in her position here, and the girls are like, you forgot your tiara. She's like, I know. You know, and she's like, she starts doing her dance. She finishes with a beautiful balance. She leaves stage, and I'm still hiding back behind the door. And I hear my music, and I run, and I'm like, and all of a sudden, someone says, "That's not Maybell. That's not Mabel. That's Maybell." All of a sudden, everyone in the wing goes, "Boom!" You know, to watch on stage. Everybody's watching, and
They're
I'm
freaking
gonna
out.
hide. I'm gonna hide. I'm just thrilled.
Even Krista was there.
Krista was the
Krista was
clown.
there. Krista was
This
there.
was one of the reasons Edward got really mad at us. So well, I do accept entrance number 2.
But I know, but
Mabel
I
does
think
three.
at some point he picked up on the lack of tiara.
Well,
You
no,
were
he
in the
picked
audience.
it up immediately.
You got up out of your chair.
Yeah, you got
and
out
you stormed
and
to the
went
back.
backstage while it was happening. You didn't even wait for the end of the number.
Because you didn't mind David Palmer falling on his face. You didn't mind the fact that we disobeyed. But
So they keep going, they keep going.
Yeah, and I did entrance number 3 with all those wicked turns, and they were like spot on.
And I do 4, which is a lot of jumps. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so she's on stage left, and I'm on stage right, and I'm like, no, we're just gonna keep this simple.
Because no one will ever know, and that way Edward won't get mad at us.
And
But
then
I'm on stage left, and
she
she
was
see
born
her on
first.
stage right, and I'm like, we're here.
she gives me the
So I go,
thumbs,
And she
and I'm
goes,
like, okay, and we both ran out on stage.
and the audience doesn't know because there's from the front of the stage, downstage, to upstage, there's a line of girls, and they open up like that as the dewdrop goes through, like an Ethel Merman.
Esther Williams. It's
Esther
almost
Williams,
like an Esther Williams. type thing, yeah.
Esther Williams. So my sister goes first. We had it all planned. I go respecting Balanchine's choreography.
yes,
I'm left-handed,
and I'm right-handed.
so Mabel goes through. I go through, we both come out.
And
Once the audience saw that we both came out,
now the
they
audience
started
knows.
screaming.
They
Started screaming. So
tricked them.
I did everything to the left, she did everything to the right.
They did
We
it really
crossed.
well. It was almost like
We
it was
crossed.
meant to be. It was wild.
We crossed, with the big jumps, the soda shots
Soda
and everything.
shots.
We finished, I did it to the left, she did it to the right. The same choreography, the same arms, and we finished. And we grabbed hands at the end. Because we got a standing ovation.
Yes.
We got a standing ovation. We held hands, we went like that.
It
And we
was like
stopped.
the gold medal at the Olympics.
The gold medal.
But now check this
I
out.
exit stage left, Mabel exit stage right.
And I'm there backstage, and I see all of the casting for the following week. Serenade, my name crossed out, no longer. That's it. I'm
Boom.
like, oh my god,
Boom.
I feel this.
Boom.
I feel
But
this.
they came to
yeah,
me
I
first.
feel.
And they
came
feel
to
this
me first.
intense,
They
like,
came to me first.
energy.
He came to me first. And I'm like, Mabel's gonna get it. Because you came to me and I felt. And I'm like, he goes, you in my office tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. I'm like, okay, Edward, okay.
And I'm walking to my dressing room, and I feel this darkness tap me on the shoulder. In my room tomorrow, meeting 9:30 a.m. We hadn't had a day off in like 10 days.
Because it was
It was
nutcracker.
show after show
Yeah,
after
yeah,
show. And so we panicked. Oh my God, Jimmy Gamonet was hiding in our bathroom, thinking you were going into our dressing room. And
He goes, girls, why did you do that? Why did you do it? I loved it, but why did you do it? You're gonna get in trouble.
So tell.
So we went
Because
home.
Linda
and-
factors into this
Oh, yeah.
big time.
So then we see Linda. Linda, you have to help us. We're gonna
This
get
is
in
the same
trouble.
night. Same night. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
backstage.
Edward is so angry with us, and we asked you, "Is there any way you can help?" And you were just so cool. You were like, "Don't worry, girls, I'll take care of him."
We're like, okay.
But
Go ahead. You can
well,
say it.
the next, it's either the next day or something. You see Linda and she's like, "Don't worry about
Yeah,
it."
I took care of him.
I did.
I just love you guys.
Oh my God, thank you.
I did. And I basically love the whole company. And I always thought, I was on the hook. You guys were my responsibility. And it was truly my heart. And I wanted you guys to move to your potentials. That was always. Running a company is an oddity.
Yeah.
And unless you get people who are comfortable with you, it ain't gonna work. And that was the whole thing. Let you guys blow it off, and then for me to say, come and give me a hug. I mean, that's.
It was pretty wonderful. That's why we will never forget it. But that's why, like, you will always, like, even when I left Miami City Ballet, just to leave home, try new things and different things, like, your voice was always with me. And you gave me that, I understood music, and you gave me a whole understanding. Because, any dancer could look like another dancer. You do the same steps. You do them the same, but we learn to do them differently.
So
You taught us.
articulate with the phrasing and the accentuation
Syncopation.
and
Yeah.
the syncopation.
And then what you say about protecting us. There was one show that Tyler wasn't there. He was, I think, injured. No, he was sick, or he wasn't performing that night. Mabel was injured, and I was gonna do, I believe it was Tarantella or something. And I go, Edward, will you stay by the wings and just watch? Like, I was so used to having someone. I always had Mabel with me, but Mabel was injured. And you're like, yeah, I'll stay in the wing. I was gonna go and watch from the front, but you want me to come in the wing? I go, I would love that. You went to down stage right, and I'm dancing. You're dancing in the wing. You're dancing, and so I'm dancing, and I was just on a high.
This doesn't happen
but you
all
were
the time
with
in
me.
ballet companies.
Directors don't do that.
or when they do that, everybody's like this. Everybody is a little tense because they're not sure.
Yeah, but you know, it's like in Spanish you say apoyo, support. Your support was there that made us thrive. And, you know, all the lessons that you learned. And you saved my life one time, like for real.
Oh, this is just true
This
story.
is for real.
True
Linda,
story.
you were there, but I don't know if you remember. We were in LA during the riots.
During the riots.
Remember? During the riots, so we got stuck in LA. We were going to perform there, but the riots were happening. And so everything was a little crazy. Everyone was a little tense.
1992 or 1994.
Yeah.
I think it was 92.
Yeah, I can't remember the date, the year. But we were all together, and everyone was cramped, and there were a lot of people, and we were getting out of the buses. And I'm getting out of the bus, and a bag lands over me, so I fell back onto the street. You grabbed me, and you pulled me towards the bus. As you pulled me towards the bus, another bus went right past the spot that I was.
It would have run. It would have run right over.
It would have
And
run right over
You
me.
pulled her out and saved her life, man.
Because it was the first year that we were dancing, and I think we went to Ecuador.
It was in
Yeah.
it was in Quito. It was in,
I was not around.
Do you remember, Edward? Do you want to say anything about
I
it?
think it was our second year.
Okay.
And said that if he doesn't do it right,
I'll do you do. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was our second year, and we were on tour. We hit Guayaquil, and then we went to Quito, which is up at 11,000 feet in the Andes Mountains. It's the capital of Ecuador. And a buddy of mine who's also a mentor, like Edward, beautiful dancer named Giannis, was in a funk or something, and he had grown up in Colombia. And I said, "Hey man, we have the day off. We just got into town. Show me the Andes Mountains. Let's go." So we took a cab to the outskirts and just went in, just started hiking, and we got up to the snow line where you start to hit snow, and there are all these eucalyptus trees, like saplings.
And this is when you're supposed to be resting, by the way.
This is when you're supposed to be in the hotel, like, like just
That's
getting
right.
ready for the
Let's
next
go.
day.
Like you
Yeah.
to acclimate.
11,000
Acclimate.
feet
Adjust.
above sea level,
So,
right?
growing up, I grew up doing this thing where you could hand over hand up a sapling like 40, 50 feet, like a maple or an oak, and then you flagpole it and you bend down. It doesn't break, and you get down to the ground. It was cool, right? So I'm like, Giannis, check this out. You're gonna love this, man. So these are eucalyptus trees. I didn't know it was the dry season, and it just happened. And so I go up like 60 feet, and he's like a speck, and I go, Giannis, check this out. And I start to pull it, and it snaps. It just snaps, like right next to me. So the whole part I'm only just comes down, 60 feet, boom. And I wake up like 45 minutes later, he's shaking me, and I have a concussion and a broken elbow.
And you're supposed to dance the next
And we're supposed to
day.
dance
And
the
we
next
don't
day.
have
And
a
we're
dance
still a pretty
company.
small company, so it's not like you have a lot of guys to fill in, you know? So right away, what does Giannis do? He hails down a cab. He makes like a fake sling for me, which is pretty cool that he could do it. And we get down to the road, and he flags a cab, and he goes right to the hotel, right to Edward's room. And I'm like, half my head is this like a cantaloupe, and then my elbow, and I'm like just holding this. And he literally knocks on Edward's door. And I'm over here, the door's here, and Giannis knocks on the door, and Edward opens up. He's like, "What's going on?" And Giannis takes me and he goes, and Edward goes, "Oh, Tyler. Oh, Tyler. Tyler, it was horrible. You know, you talk about unprofessional.
Right.
But who takes me to the hospital? That guy. And waits while they do the cast, everything, talks to the doctor, and it was wild. But normally you'd get fired in any company. He didn't fire me. I got very lucky. But that's a true story, man. Can't make that
Oh,
stuff
that's
up.
amazing that you took him and you stayed there.
It was amazing.
with him.
Well, you talk about your ballet father. He's like the ballet father, you know.
Yeah.
It's more than just a director-dancer relationship, you know.
Wow.
It's amazing, amazing
You
stuff.
thought they were going to throw water at you, right?
And then,
Oh.
What was that?
Well, it was around that time Well, those guys who used to go around with bags of water on motorcycles, and they would throw the bags. So I figured, oh well, you know, you guys, that's the thing that's gonna happen. So I opened the door and I got behind the door, and then I went, oh, no bag of water.
Oh my God.
This is worse.
You know,
And this is the type of director he was too. Another time, Giannis and I we did Charleston, South Carolina, a whole week there, and then we did, what's the beach town that South Carolina? Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
So then we go to Myrtle Beach, and we have the day off again. It's a travel day. Giannis and I have a couple beers or
supposed to
something.
rest.
We go out onto the beach, and we're walking around, and this is one of my best friends and mentor as well. And we're walking around, these three guys are coming down the beach, and I just have a bad vibe. I'm like, I don't know, we should probably go the other way. And the guys get up to us and they go, what are you guys doing on our beach? And Giannis goes, it's everybody's beach. And right as he does that, one of the guys just decks him. And then I took on the other guys, and fortunately they were kind of inebriated, so we got the better of them. And Giannis had from that first punch, the guy had a ring on. He had a huge thing on his face. So we go back to the hotel. Where do we go? Edward's room. It's like, this is like a normal thing now. He must be like, oh no, what's it now, man?
Literally knock on his
But check
door,
this
he's like,
out.
"No,
Check this out. So Giannis knocks on the door and he goes, Edward, we just got in this fight. And Edward's just looking at us like, what is going on? And he's like, we got in this fist fight, and Edward goes just like this. Who won? What? Not like anything else. He just goes, who won? And we're like, and Giannis goes, we did. And he's like, good. Now what do you want? Get out of here. That's a true story. Like, there's no director in the world to be like, who won? They'd be like, go call the cops, you know? Or like something like... That's a true story. I hadn't thought of that one in years either,
Oh
man.
my God, in a while.
Oh God, it was wild. That was such amazing stuff. Okay, but most of your career was back up in State Theater.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
because once Lincoln Center was built,
Yeah.
we opened Lincoln Center.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay,
wow.
like the inaugural. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Didn't you do a show at the Met, and then took like a little golf cart underground and did another show at
Yeah.
State Theater?
Yeah.
True story, right?
They would have your name on the, you would just talk about your career, your experiences, with Balanchine and the ballets, and then when you would talk about a ballet, one of your dancers would perform it.
Or what it was like partnering, and I remember you partnered me for a Tchaikovsky Parida. It was a lot of fun. We had so much fun.
Oh, God. Well,
Yeah, and then sometimes you would even do things that weren't, what we normally did with Miami City Ballet. We would do some classical paridas, like Le Corsaire, Don Quixote, or Bournonville, or some Bournonville. Yeah, so those were fun too, those gigs. We would do them like Fort Lauderdale, West Palm.
Or we would go away. I remember we would go up north to a different,
Yeah,
to
I
different
think we
place,
even did one at Purchase. We even did one at Purchase. That one of your talks. Purchase,
Edward,
New
you
York.
worked really hard. You were non-stop. Like, it was really, you were like teaching the whole world, trying to teach them, helping them understand what it was to dance a Balanchine ballet. So you did so much because it never ended. You taught us, but you continued to teach the audience. The public needed to know. Because you go and you watch a ballet and it's, it's beautiful, but they don't understand what it takes, what to look at the differences, the way the music is approached. you know, the line that you're supposed to achieve. It's a different training, and you know, you try to teach that to the audience, and they still need that. Everybody needs that, especially now.
It was awesome.
And I don't love you just for that. I always will love you at work. You're my father dancer. And I love you. I love you. Please know that. Please know.
Well, please don't.
Wait, this needs a double.
Hold on, I gotta get my phone.
I'm sorry. This needs a double. Without you, our lives would have been completely different.
Yeah, very
It's
dull.
so bland.
It would have been so
So
beige.
bland.